Welcome back to the Press Club. This is our final segment. We quickly ran out of time. There's a lot more we could discuss, but it would be remiss of me if we didn't touch on your award during the National Independence Awards this year, which is the subject of the commentary in the Voice newspaper on page 8. Honored to be honored, Chronicles of a Chronic Chronicler. Also the subject of one of your presentations on this show. I wanted to talk a little bit about your career in journalism, spanning over 40 years. We talk a lot about the media and the development of the media. And I've always said I feel like yourself, people like yourself, Guy Ellis, Rick Wayne, some of the old heads, haven't really been given the respect and the due honor that you deserve. I think the government has done that in this case by giving you this award. But in terms of from our colleagues, the contribution that you can make in moving the media fraternity forward, I don't think you've been given that. But I want to talk a little bit about your career, how you got into journalism, how you got into the media, and how you've seen it evolved and change over these 40 years.
Well, I don't think I could wrap 40 years into 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But like I said, anybody who wants could check today's Voice newspaper, like you said. But basically, like I said, I started off with pen and paper, and went through the evolution from pen and paper to typewriter to word processor to computer. Now there's iPhone, iPad, everything. And therefore, I've gone through all of that. I was asking Junior's son recently whether he knows what's a fountain pen. He didn't. We had to explain to him. He knew what it was, but he didn't know it was called a fountain pen. Young people, many young people today don't know that a feather was the first pen. So having gone through that, I got into the profession not intending to. I wanted to be a seaman because I come from a family where everybody else has been to sea, including Alex, my brother here on DBS. And that didn't work out. But the one thing I did at sea that prepared me for what I'm doing now is that I used to keep a diary. I always loved writing. And I used to write about everything I saw and heard and what my experience was, because I started sailing while I was still at school at age 13. It was not supposed to have been, but then there's this thing on ships. Sailors would tell you there are no boys on ships. You have to be a man, like everybody else. So I used to write about everything, the experience, and come back and share it with fellow students at college.
Oh, by the way, I know you wrote something on Michael Chasney's book launch.
Yes.
Are we to expect a memoir from you soon?
I guess for 40 years, 40 years might be something to write about. Not because of the honor, but I've long wanted to. I have outlines for 5 books. But I haven't been able to figure out how to do it. But a few persons who are aware that the technology can make it happen without me sitting down with a pen and paper and really writing out a book, have suggested ways and means that it could be done faster, and all 5 could be done simultaneously. So I don't know what the timeline is going to be like, but I don't sorry, I don't feel comfortable talking about myself on this award. I got many requests for interviews. I don't feel I should be talking about myself, how I feel about the award. I feel I was awarded for who I am and who I have been, and I'm going to continue to be that person. It's not going to change me. There was a light movement on the day that it was announced. Of course, I had to keep that a state secret, but I had positioned myself at my favorite watering hole for the moment the announcement was made, and the news started coming in, the congrats and so on my iPhone, and one of the guys around said, well, why? What happened? Why Kenny didn't give you a sou? And the other guy said, well, if he had get a sou, he wouldn't be able to come here and drink rum. But I haven't. All of the accolades have been positive, and I deeply appreciate the honor. With all the humility I can, I think it is something, yes, that I worked for, but it was not possible without all the colleagues that have helped to make me into who I am, including yourself. People talk about us. People look out for our show. So therefore, it's not just about me. Most of my shows are shared. And I couldn't have been good in commentary and that commentary on Press Club without DBS, without you, without the cameraman, without, you know, the other people who make it happen. So it is not just me, because I cannot speak to everybody from my home. You know, I have to do it through a media house. That media house only exists because there are media persons working there. And it is not only the journalists and the presenters that we see and hear, but the people behind the camera, the people in the advertising department who have to get the advertisements to keep the entity running so we could get paid, those of us who get paid. You know, so the award, I will accept it tomorrow on behalf of us all. Not just for my 40 years, but on behalf of all those during that 40 years who helped make it possible for me to have been recognized 40 years later, in my first 40 years in journalism, because I have no plans to go anywhere. And in our profession, we don't have retirement. You know, Larry King has pointed that out.
We're out of time, Mr. Bousquet. Always a pleasure. And I want to thank you as a beneficiary of your 40 years of experience. I don't think we've had a single conversation, whether on here, by the side of the road, by your house, that I have not learned something from you, whether it is in terms of media, you know, historical, current affairs, you know. So I always look forward
comedic.
to... That's so. But in that case, Alex will take the cake from you. But I have genuinely appreciated our relationship over the years, and I have definitely walked away from it with a lot of better for it, for having known you and interacted with you. So thank you for that. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. And thank you for watching. We'll be back next week. I'll see you then.